Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Yes, it is, and welcome to New Life Live. Glad you're with us here, and we will do whatever it takes to get to your call, and we may even go too long just because we care about you so much. Speaking of going too long, Dr. Alice Benton is with us, as well as Dr. Sheri Keffer. And Alice, how are you doing today?
Well, I'm not going to say much.
Yeah.
You better. You're wise. Yeah.
The reason I was joking with her, she was just asking me about another program we did, if she went too long. And, well, we all kind of went too long on it, but it was so important that we did because, some major things were going on. And we really do care so much about what's going on in your life. We want to help you, but not just give you the same old that you might get anywhere. We want to help you with whatever it is that you're going through. Speaking of Alice, you were on Life Recovery today, and you were talking about your own situation and coming to grips with the reality in your life. And talk about why it's so hard for us to see what everybody else can see. Why is it so hard for us to see it?
Well, folks, I am passionate about safeguarding and protecting our marriage because I was moving towards emotional infidelity in my own marriage. I was staying connected with ex-boyfriends. I was getting a little thrill out of talking with them. There were two other areas in my life as well. I was reading romance novels, and sometimes I skipped over the sex scenes, but not all the time. I was listening to sexy music, and I wasn't safeguarding my marriage. And it is a slippery slope that will only get us into more trouble if we don't put the brakes on, get other people in on it with us to turn it around, to turn that tide. And I had to do a lot of cleanup in my life, and I couldn't do it on my own. Got a couple people around me to help me. But now, in those areas especially, I'm strong, I'm safe, and other people help hold me accountable, and I'm not worried about it anymore. And I want that for all of you. We talk so much about men and their vulnerability to infidelity in marriages, but ladies, we got to take a strong look at ourselves as well.
I'll tell you, Alice, I think it's amazing. You mentioned romance novels. I knew a couple where literally she'd probably read 2 a day. I mean, that was just, and they were just everywhere, all over the house. And that was her escape. She might as well have been drunk the whole time because she was not available to anybody else, including her children. Why did you wake up to this? What happened where you just said, okay, I'm gonna do something here different with my life. I'm not going to be like this. What happened?
There was a chance to meet up with an ex-boyfriend. It could have happened, and it was teetering on happening. And when I realized I was stuck in fantasy for an entire drive home from work, I thought, this has so much more power over me than I give it credit for. I got to get out of this, and I got to let other people know what's happening in my head.
Well, I'm glad you did.
So brave, Alice. We just
so
love
many
how
people,
vulnerable you are. Yeah. It's amazing.
A lot of people, they aren't able to say no. And they don't get the help before it happens. And then it's just a life of regret and working through stuff.
And it's really hard to put the emotional energy into your marriage when there's this fantasy leak in your boat, right? You just can't. You're taking that energy elsewhere. And it's easy to become discontent. It's easy to start looking at them and seeing things that are wrong. It's easy to self-justify why that would be okay to do that. I'm not hurting anybody. But we just love how brave you are to invite all of us to take a look at ourselves and see if there's things that we're doing that are compromising our fidelity emotionally or sexually.
It'll be hard to dig into, girls, but we will only benefit from doing it.
Amen. We'll be back right after this for more New Life Live. Glad you're with us today.
I came into this thinking that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop will be held online Saturday, February 13th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve Arterburn.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Milan and Kay Yurkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship. And then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or go to newlife.com.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. If sexual integrity is running a little thin, get help before it blows up. I mean, really, there's so many people that they were just about to get help. Almost were going to call, and then they didn't, and then something happened. So call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and let us help you. We really want to do that so badly. All right, let's go to Joanne. Allentown, Pennsylvania. WRGN is the station. Hi there. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you, Steve and Sheri?
Good.
Doing okay.
I wanted to say, love you guys. You are amazing. I did speak to you on the show probably about 7 years ago, 7 or 8 years ago. I had lost my husband of 32 years to pancreatic cancer in 2010. He passed. He was diagnosed in April of 2010, passed away in September of 2010. I've always, had someone around. My kids, they're grown now, and I have 8 grandchildren, just about 8. And I had sold my home, and I had this, I'm healed from this situation. And I jumped right into this marriage. It was a person that I knew when I was growing up. And
how quickly did you jump into it? How quickly was it?
Well, a year, 1 year.
1 year, okay.
And my pastor and his wife and even my children were like, and even you, Steve, had said, doesn't sound good, because we were in a restaurant and something wasn't right, and he just blew up on the waitress, and even though I saw that, I kind of overlooked it because I was in love, and this was the person that God had for me. Unfortunately, he was not. And I can relate to Annie. I wasn't physically abused, but verbally. And he always had to have the control. Even my kids, when I had told my ex-husband to leave, even my kids were like, why didn't you share what you were going through? And I think for me, and being the age I am, 62, I think I was always taught that if you got involved physically, then that you married that person, and that's just the way it was.
Okay, so I want you to know that you are absolutely not the first person who called for our advice and could care less what we said, because it just seems to happen a lot. Now, are you just wanting to comment on the other person, or is there something we could help you with today?
Yes, I did go, I went through divorce. I am divorced, probably like 9 months right now. Sold my home, moved into an apartment, and I've done divorce care, actually 3 times, very helpful, helping me heal. But I think for myself, where do I go from here? I know that healing is a process, and the loneliness, I do deal with the loneliness, especially, during the COVID. I work a full-time job. I think that's kind of what I'm looking for, where do I go? Where do I go from here? I know that God still has a plan for my life.
Okay. Well, let's hear from Sheri and Alice. I've got a couple of thoughts for you that I'll close out with. Let's start with you. Sheri, how about you? What do you think she needs to do? I mean, she's lonely. She's, yeah.
I am amazed how much insight you have, as we all have that 2020, right? Looking back at what happened and, thinking about the grief and how fast it was that your husband died, right? With that pancreatic cancer. Yeah. There was some incredible grief and loss. And I think what you ran to was comfort in the way of sex. Mm-hmm. And that sex, you thought it was a comfort, right, to you, but it made you very vulnerable to someone who was harmful because he used you. Yeah. And you saw him, right, but you didn't acknowledge it because you went into fantasy. You went into denial. And everybody was trying to save you. So as I'm hearing you today, 9 months in to your healing journey from this marriage you just divorced from, you know what you're still looking for? Comfort.
Comfort.
You're still?
Yes.
So what is it about you that doesn't have set up in her life some comfort structures? Like, where are the comfort things? Like girlfriends, things that would feel good to your heart, people that you can call and talk to, even in this COVID environment. Why have you been starving for so long for that comfort?
And that's true. I don't think I ever thought of it like that. I think because sometimes I don't know how. Like, I do have girlfriends, but I work full time, so I think a lot of times I use that as an excuse, like, oh, I work full time, I come home, and that's it. And it's like, yeah, I think it's just I don't take the time to do that, to look for the comfort. And then I look for the comfort maybe in, like, overeating or shopping or things like that.
Yep.
Joanne, I don't think it's okay for you, with you, to be needy and to even know what the emotional needs are so that you could take them to someone else. And you probably weren't taught how to do that. So what that will look like then moving forward to grow in this area is practicing putting names to your emotions so that when you have that desire to go overeat, there's an emotion underneath it, and it probably is sadness or loneliness or fear or overwhelm. And all of us need to become responsible for those emotional needs and then take them to the safe people. Joanne, I can't tell you how often I go to my husband, and even my kids too, and I tell them, I'm scared right now, and I'm overwhelmed, and I'm feeling inadequate, and I need a hug from you guys, and I need you to tell me that you love me and why you love me. I need you to fill up my love tank because I'm a little low right now. And Joanne, when I do that with safe people, and they help me out, wow, girl, I'm empowered for the day, and I can move forward, but I need to dip back into that pretty frequently too.
Well, one of the things that you and Sheri are talking about here, it's really important insight. Some people that overeat, they'll say, I've made food my God, and you really haven't made food your God. Comfort is your God, and you've chosen food as a means to get the comfort. Your sacrifice is your body, and other people, comfort, and it's alcohol. Comfort, it's sex. And so once we develop that insight, then we can say, okay, now how am I going to get comfort? What about at a minimum level, I decide I need to be, no matter how hard I work or how long, I need to be in 2 groups that have women in them. A Bible study group and a support group. That's a minimum.
Okay.
Maybe there's also an exercise group. Maybe there is a card club or something, but at least a book club, but you at least need 2. Anything else you guys want to add? I mean, she has to find this comfort outside of food and men.
And I think the other thing I would have you spend some time looking at, and maybe with one of our New Life therapists, is how you tend to compartmentalize. It's you have, and I think it has to do with a brain type that you are, that tends to kind of put things in a box and doesn't necessarily have those boxes talk to one another. So you could be with a guy that's treating somebody badly, but then you've got another box that's like, but he's so nice to me. And you want to develop kind of better conversations between these two parts of you. So, because that's going to be important going forward, right? Getting in touch with your feelings and learning how to have these internal conversations with yourself and others so that you can navigate through these tempting moments and really get what you need.
And evidence of that box thing is you didn't talk about your husband and the agony, the shock of his death, it's that box isn't what you were talking about. You were talking about this other box with this other guy that had this thing. Other people, it would all be kind of a part of a story. And so I really love it that Sheri mentioned this, because when a box person becomes a Jell-O person, there is tremendous hope when it all gets integrated and flows from one to the other. So I think it's wonderful that you've called and she's pointed that out. Anything else we want to say that could be helpful here? I'm really glad that you called, Joanne, and I hope you feel encouraged here. And the first guy that comes along and detects that you're a little bit lonely, that's where you got to be careful. Because,
hold out on the sex, girl. Don't have sex. Can I just tell you that? Can I just tell you to hold on to your sweet body until you have a man who is married to you because he's fallen in love with your heart. He's fallen in love with your mind. He's gotten to know you, and you've spent time getting to know him. And slow down, walk. This is a really important decision. I think most people spend time researching a car or a pair of shoes you want than we really do people that we're going to spend our life with. So you're worth the time it takes to get to know somebody else. So I'm trying to figure out, Steve, if we send her the grief workbook that you have, or if we send her, is this the one? I mean, we'll do both, because I think it's really important that you look at whatever you can. I'll send you the grief workbook and the Life Recovery Bible that goes with it. There are 12 steps for everybody and anybody. Hey, look, if you're dating somebody and they don't have enough restraint to keep from having sex with you, and you don't have enough restraint to keep from having sex with them, well, I bet when you get married, they're not going to have enough restraint to keep from yelling and screaming at you when they feel like it, or walking out the door and ignoring you for 4 days. You see what I mean? It's a great, great test of character. And when I was dating my wife, we'll have a 16th anniversary here next month, I really felt like it won her heart when I didn't want to have sex with her until we got married. And, of course, if you know that story, once we did, then she pointed out that maybe I needed to do a little work on that. So we got help from that. But that was a journey that brought us closer together in working that through. God uses things like that. All right, let's go to, how about we talk over here to Erica from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Hey, Erica, how are you?
I'm good.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. What's going on?
I'm piggybacking on everything that you guys have been saying. I have been a woman who has sexual issues, and I pray about them. I am in a relationship with a man who has been able to, withstand and hold himself. And I have taken that as he doesn't want me, and I'm unattractive, and I've reached out to prior relationships in order to have that need met and been unfaithful. And I had to tell him that I was being unfaithful, and now we're in a position where are we gonna make it? And I feel terrible. I feel that I have these destructive behaviors about being sexual with other people because I don't really want to deal with what the actual problems are. And it's difficult.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. You're wanting to talk about a problem with sex. But in reality, you're describing a symptom of a deeper problem. And that's what we want to help you with. And we'll do that right after this break. You're listening to New Life Live. If you need some help, it's 1-800-229-3000. I've said it before. A bunch of people woke up this morning, came to work, because they wanted to save some lives. They wanted to initiate transformation. And you could have access to any of those people just by calling 1-800-NEWLIFE. We'll be back right after this.
After I found the pornography on the internet, I said, you either get help or I have to leave this household.
Every day, thousands of women discover their husband is struggling with sexual integrity. And since shelter-in-place orders have gone into effect, traffic to porn sites has skyrocketed. New Life's Every Man's Battle workshop can help.
Every Man's Battle, I fought it the whole week with my wife. Within 2 hours, you could have opened a book. It showed me where my life has been ever since I was a little boy.
The Every Man's Battle workshop can be a trip to the sexual addiction emergency room. During this time of social distancing, the Every Man's Battle workshop will be held online Saturday, March 6th. Find sexual integrity, accountability, and connection. Register now to reserve a place at the Every Man's Battle online workshop. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
He said, this may have saved my life.
Every Man's Battle was a life-changing experience for me and a marriage-saving experience for me.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEWLIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
All right, we are back talking with Erica, and we want to try to help Erica find out what's the real problem underneath this symptom of a sex drive that leads her to betrayal. Sheri, you want to get us started here?
Hey, Erica. First off, thank you for being so brave and vulnerable with us. I'm just proud of you. I am looking forward to having a brief conversation here. But the thing that I believe is that all behavior is purposeful. So during the break, I was trying to think, like, what is it that Erica is doing, this behavior of not being able to really take in his way of honoring you as a woman, your heart, your mind, your body. And you weren't able to take in his honor, but to the point where you went and sexually acted out with somebody else, right? It's trying to make sense of it. So this is where I first went. Do you have any knowledge of when you were growing up being sexually violated in any way?
I mean, not that I'm aware of. I do know that there are people in my family who have been sexually inappropriate with family members, but my parents were aware of it and made sure I stayed away. So I don't recall anything happening.
So let me ask you this. When was the earliest time that you became sexual as a young girl?
Like 7.
Okay, 7. So, sweetheart, I adore your vulnerability. When you say 7, was it with I'm sorry?
I said, I know that's crazy. It was a kiss. I kissed a boy at like a summer camp. And then like a couple years later, he asked me to have sex with him. And I was like, sure, no problem. Why not?
Yeah.
But
a couple years later was 9 years old. You had sex with a boy at 9.
No, I didn't. My mom ended up coming and picked me up from summer camp, so I didn't end up having sex.
Okay.
But I was open to it.
Yeah, so this is the thing. Something, and I don't know what it is. It may be something that you explore with someone like me, right? Another therapist. But when we have sexualized behavior that happens really early, and sometimes it's dissociated, meaning sometimes we don't remember it. Sometimes it happens like by 9 o'clock, by 9 years old, you were like, sure, let's have sex. Not really even knowing what sex was, but you were open. It wasn't like you had this natural boundary like at 9, like, what's that? And no, boys, you didn't developmentally go through that. And that's why I'm wondering about sexual abuse of some kind. Because what happens early on is, as girls, when we are sexually abused or violated or sexually active early, we separate out our emotions from our bodies. Like in healthy sexuality, you're able to be emotional and sexual at the same time and have that be a very loving and connecting experience. There's honor there. There's respect. But in cases where there's been early sexualized behavior, our emotions, we were just talking about a box, our emotions go into one box and our body goes into another. So we can all of a sudden get our wires crossed and feel like having sex with guys is okay because you're not really emotionally attached to the man who's honoring you. Like, you've got him in an emotional box and you've got a sexual box, and we don't learn how to put those two things together, but they're meant to be together.
You seem to learn to equate your value with sex. And if sex isn't present, then you're not being valued. And it could have even been exposure to pornography, exposure to sexual content at a young age. And so part of your work will be disentangling how that belief came to be. I can know I'm loved and valued when I'm sexually active with someone. That's the sign that they love me. And then you'll also, like the previous caller, you'll need to become okay with asking for reassurance from your partner, letting him know, I feel so needy and I'm afraid that you don't want me because you're not being sexual with me. And I need to hear words that you care about me, that you love me, that I'm attractive to you, that you want me. You need to request that reassurance from him.
Now, here's what I'd like you to do. What they're saying is you need to get into some therapy with a person that is used to dealing with women with sexual integrity problems. But Erica, are you wanting to continue the relationship with this guy that weren't faithful to in dating?
Yeah.
Okay. When we come back from the break, I want you to convince me that that's a good thing for him. Okay. Why would that be a good idea for this guy to say, okay, I'm not going to run, I'm going to hang in here with you, and we want to hear you convince us things are going to be different. You're listening to New Life Live. If you need help, it's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I've seen so many people, I've been there when they've called, and it began an entirely different life journey. If you don't like the journey you're on, we can help you find one that you literally will find the God of the universe. You'll find the path that He has for you, and you'll find what He called you to do. But you have to call us first. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I feel blessed to have had this opportunity for my needs to be met, connecting with other women who are fighting the same fight, hoping for healthy marriages and growing closer to the Lord on their journey.
My name is Sheri Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
I feel encouraged and hopeful that even in my struggle, I am enough.
You will leave with hope, with a community of sisters ready to support you, and you will also leave with tools to move you forward on this journey.
Through the sharing in our small group, I realize that I am not alone.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is being held online Saturday, February 27th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of 7 books, including Growth Has No Boundaries by Drs. John Townsend and Henry Cloud, Take Your Life Back by Steve Arterburn and Dr. Dave Stoop, and the Emotional Freedom Workbook. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here, and I've asked Erica. Erica, can you convince me that it would be a good idea for the guy that you betrayed to give you another chance? Why should he give you another chance?
I can try and convince you. Because I'm making changes. I never want to hurt him again. I'm doing better with communicating, and I'm willing to get help and to change and to understand my behavior so that it doesn't continue to occur.
Okay, so you're willing to get help is different than help. You know what I'm saying here?
Well, I am getting help. Yeah, I am getting help.
Okay.
I'm talking to a counselor. I'm calling you guys.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
reading
right.
books. I'm in prayer. I mean, honestly, it's really a miracle that he even still talks to me. If I was just an outsider and just his friend, I would say, don't talk to her anymore. Unfortunately, I'm the her, and I'm realizing that I could potentially lose something that could be so great and blessed and prosperous because of my own insecurities and inability to communicate, and just trying to push everything under the rug and not open up and say what's really going on.
Okay.
So I'm no longer doing those things.
Let me suggest something to you. When I made a major transformation in my life, I said to the people around me, if I stay on this course, here's what you're going to see me do and hear me talk about. If you watch me do this and hear me start to talk about this kind of stuff, you know that it's over. So I think you ought to share with him evidence that you're back where you were, like I'm not going to be open and honest with you. You're going to sense that I'm holding back. I'm not being vulnerable with you anymore. And what he would see if you were on a different path, such as I'm not going to tell you where I'm going to be at certain times. I'm going to start keeping secrets. You're going to sense that we are no longer moving back together. I want to honor your grace and your forgiveness of me, by giving you a woman who is transparent, authentic, and consistent. And if you see anything other than that, we need to talk about it, and I'm going to be open and honest with you. Then you've got something. But stay on that course of getting the help that you're getting, because that's really the key.
And
there's a
12-step group that I would like you to start adding to the mix. It's a sex, love, and relationship addiction 12-step group, because there's going to be, in a female only, I don't want you to go into one that there's men, because there's going to be some women in there that are going to really help to hold you accountable in light of not acting out sexually with him or with anyone else, because you're going to have to work on sobriety from that quick fix that you emotionally need in order to convince you that you're loved. It's a part of your recovery path. He won't be safe without you doing that.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you called. I think you're on the right path. You just need to stay on that path, one step at a time. Speaking of one step at a time, Larry takes it whatever he has, the reality that day, one step at a time. You take it and you deal with it, and that's why we're still in ministry today. What do you have for us today, Larry? What's going on?
Well, you haven't seen the days that I curl up fetal under my desk, but other than that, you're right. So
Rhonda has told me. Rhonda told me about those days. Yeah.
Well, Steve, Restore this Saturday.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal, ladies. I want to encourage you, and listeners, I want to encourage you to support when you consider what this ministry does. And how God blesses it to help ladies. Here's a brief testimony. I was apprehensive about coming. No offense, ladies, but I didn't want to belong to this club. I did not know what to expect, and I thought if the only thing I got out of it was to connect with a woman who had survived this, that would be enough. But I received so much more. I received knowledge, which is power, and tools to use in my recovery journey. It was wonderful to cry and to laugh, really laugh, with women who get it. I'm grateful for this experience. It was worth it.
I love that. That's wonderful.
So many of what we hear from so many women is it's his problem, not mine.
Yeah.
And I think there's a deeper issue that ladies don't really feel that their value, they value themselves enough that they should put forth the money and the effort to do a workshop like this. And ladies, you are well worth it. You're a child of the living God, and he loves you, and he wants you to be whole and well. And this can be a step for you that would make a difference.
Well, let me say this. It was his problem, but his problem gave you a problem.
There you go.
You have to forgive. You have to restore. You have to heal from all this. You don't have a choice, or you stay miserable the rest of your life. And here's what a lot of women don't do that don't come. They try to fix his problem.
Yeah.
Well, you can't fix his problem, but you can fix your problem so that if he does end up developing integrity, you're going to be there and you're going to have a relationship you never dreamed you can have. What else, Larry? What do we need to know?
Well, I just want them to know, the ladies to know, that we don't at all suggest that the reason you come to this workshop is because you did something to cause your husband to make the mistakes that he made.
No.
It had nothing to do with you. And if you get nothing else out of the workshop but being convinced of that, it's going to be worth it. So if you could call, if you're interested in going, noon Central Time is the cutoff tomorrow, Friday. But there is no cutoff time for making a donation of support for New Life. Call us, go online, make a gift. Sometimes I feel like I need to apologize. You must get tired of me always saying we need your support. But donations run this place to a huge effect.
Mm-hmm.
And if without them we can't do what we do. We really believe God is in this. We see him blessing the efforts we're making, and we're not going to stop. And so I'll continue to ask. I'll try to do it as honestly and diplomatically as I can, but it's a need, and I think God will bless you for making a gift.
Amen. Thank you, Larry. It's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. If you can help us or you need some help, call us, 1-800-NEWLIFE. Call us. Please do it. Call us. Get the help that you need. All right, let's go to, how about we talk with Michelle, Atlanta, Georgia. Hi, Michelle. How are you today?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure. What's on your mind?
I've wanted to call y'all for so many different years for so many different reasons. But one of the ladies earlier made me think of something, and I called not thinking I was going to get through, but I did. So here I am.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to try to make it easy to go through. But I'm a middle child, and my younger sister was raped by my older brother. This was when we were kids. I didn't know about it till I was in my early 20s. She told me.
How old were they when this happened? How old were they when you say kids? How old?
Oh, goodness. My sister was 8, and my brother's probably 13 years older than her, so 13 plus 8. So, 21. And the sad part is, I remember that day, and I knew it's crazy because I was there, and me and my mom and my boyfriend at the time, we were going to the store, and my sister didn't want to come with us. My brother didn't live with us, but he was visiting us, and she wanted to stay with him. And I remember she was begging, and something in my gut was like, no, she's got to come. But everyone's like, why? Why does she got to come with us? But I remember being at the store just trying to rush, and my mom getting mad at me. I knew something bad was going to happen.
Wow.
And honestly, I can't tell you how I knew, but I knew. And then my brother left as soon as we got back. He was from out of town. He's like, oh, I'm going to leave. Bye. My sister was taking a nap. But I was young in my 20s, or in my teens. She said she was okay. So I'm like, okay, she's okay. But then years later, she told me what happened.
Wow. What did she tell
terrible. Well, she told me that, do you want the in-depth part, or?
Well, I mean, he literally raped her, and he's over 20 and she's 8. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What's the question going to be for us?
Well, he went MIA, and I believe he got killed personally. But he has 2 children. His wife recently died, so his kids are 3 and 8 right now.
Yeah.
And I met them the first time at Christmas, and the older son said, do you miss my daddy? And I know God wants me to be a part of their life, and I just don't know how or what. It's just hard for me.
Mm-hmm. So what did you say? What was your answer?
Well, he's 8 years old, and I said, yes, I miss your dad. I miss everybody when they go away.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again.
You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800. New Life.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back, Steve Arterburn here, and we just seem to have some really, really tough situations come up, and here's a tough one where Michelle doesn't know what to say to the children of the man who raped her sister. And now she's trying to be something of value to them. Sheri, you want to start us off here, and what you're thinking would be helpful. The boy says, "Do you miss my dad?" And she said, "Sure, I miss everybody." What do you think about that answer?
Do you miss their dad? Just honest. You're with us here. You're not with them.
Honestly, no. I haven't seen him in years.
Yeah.
And that's why I never met them, because I wanted nothing to do with him.
So you know what's really interesting? So these two little kiddos, 8 and 3, are in a trauma response right now.
Right.
And so it is okay if they ask you questions about their dad, like, do you miss my dad? Really what this 8-year-old is saying is, I miss my dad. I miss my dad. You can turn it back around on them and say, do you miss your dad? Because they are looking for somebody to take care of them right now. And so we don't have to lie. When somebody asks us a question, we often feel like we have to answer it and clean up that, put lipstick on that pig and play nice in the sandbox. But you know what? Then we end up like lying to ourselves, and that doesn't feel good because it's not the truth. So, but it's tricky, right? When they're asking, they're trying to suck something out of you right now, which is stabilization. Who's taking care of them? Who's going to mom and dad these two? Because they've lost both parents.
Right. Well, their mom's mother, she's in her 70s, is currently primary caretakers, and my mom takes them on occasion on the weekends, and my mom's 65. I feel like God's calling me to move there to Texas for this reason, and that's why it's so heavy on my heart, because the 70-year-old, their mom's mom talks bad about my brother. I don't know to what extent, and I don't know why, but she never really liked him. I don't know what she knows or why. I mean, I could guess many reasons, but she talks bad about him all the time. So I feel like when...
All right, so let's give you some help. Alice, do you have anything? Because we're running out of time, and I really want to help you here on how to be with them. Alice, do you have a thought here?
Well, I don't think that all negative truth about their father should be completely avoided either, because I imagine the 8-year-old experienced some level of that with his father as well. And so allowing it to be complex, there might be things that we miss about him, and he was imperfect too. And so there are things that I don't miss as well. That kind of truth does need to be okay to be talked about if you sense that the 8-year-old is going that direction as well. So not avoiding that truth entirely either.
Okay, and you can always go back to him and say, the other day you were asking me if I missed your dad. And I said, yes, I miss all people. Well, one of the reasons that I didn't really know you is that, I didn't see your father and wasn't a part of his life or your life. So, I said I missed all people, but I don't really miss him. But I miss him for you, because I know how difficult it is to be without your father. And so I'm just understanding and I'm really feeling all of this that you're feeling here. What Sheri said to you was modeled by, I think, a guy that's a pretty good model for all of us. Jesus. When Herod asked Jesus, "Are you the king?" Well, did Jesus say yes or no? No, he asked Herod a question. Well, now, is that your question, or did somebody put you up to this? Why are you asking me that kind of thing? Is this who you say I am, or somebody else? So all through, he was, and people say, how do I get to heaven? He'd ask them, well, what about this? So that's a really great way to do it, is to use the question as the source of a question back to them. Now, if you're going to be part of their lives, you have to have credibility throughout their lives, and at some point, they're going to find out what their dad was like. And if you've been overly positive about their father, then you haven't been truthful to them. They're not always going to be in this trauma response like Sheri's saying. So you really have to decide that you're going to be a little bit more truthful about him, because look, the mother-in-law, his mother-in-law is truthful about him. She could care less what they think. She's negative. So you want to be consistent, and you want to be a reliable source. And sometimes you have to tell a child, your father was a complicated person. Not all bad, but he was also not all good either. Sheri, what were you going to say there?
I was going to say, and you got a little boy who's looking for a man. And if he's being raised by a grandmother right now, he's hungry. He's scared. And so I love that you're considering moving near them. I'm sure that would be a big step for you and a big life change. But they might really benefit from some stability and care that you would have to offer them.
Right. Yeah, I'm excited but very nervous about it. I'm waiting to see what God says. But they do have their grandfather who's there with them too.
Yeah. How will you know what God says? How will you know what God says?
Honestly, I already feel like he's pulling me that way. I think it's just me being scared of taking the will back from him.
Okay. All right. Well, go ahead.
If you do decide, well, whether or not you decide to go, I want to make sure you've done your own grief and forgiveness work towards their father, so that you can come to them as a mother with a clean heart towards the man that was their father.
Yeah, there's a lot more about him that I didn't share.
Yes.
And I know I do have a lot of unforgiveness there. There's a lot of anger, I guess, so to say.
Yeah, and rightfully so.
And I know that.
Yeah, rightfully so. It's a terrible thing to have a 21-year-old rape an 8-year-old. It's terrible.
Yeah, it is. When you're thinking about what this 8-year-old can handle by way of truth or that, you might want to think of them as in terms of being 12 in this day and age. They're very advanced. They're exposed to a lot of things, and so they might be able to handle much more than you would think. I'm really glad you called. I'm going to send you Take Your Life Back and Healing is a Choice. I think both of those are going to help you in this journey. And what a great thing it is that you would be part of a redemptive process that God is always wanting in situations. And I don't think you're doing this out of spite or shame or guilt or anything. It sounds like your motives are really pure, and I love that. And so I hope that that's going to work out. But be sure, like we were saying here, you work through the issues yourself. If you need some help, it's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I can't stress more than any other time that God's Word has truth. It doesn't have truth with conditions with it. It's true truth. The more you apply that truth, the wiser you are, the better your life is, the more consistent it becomes. If you need some help finding that truth, you call us, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Thank you, Dr. Sheri Keffer. Thank you, Dr. Alice Benton. To all of you who listen, watch, support us, and pray, thank you. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe.
I feel blessed to
hit that bell so you
I came into this thing.
So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help. Hi, this is Steve Arterburn from New Life Live, and Chris Williams and I are doing the Emotional Freedom Workshop March the 27th. I don't know of anybody that wouldn't benefit